Most real estate agents say that if they could just wake up every day and know exactly what to do, and that what they're doing will lead them to hitting their goals, that they would be able to do it. But the problem is that most agents don't have a proven daily routine and weekly schedule that will guarantee they achieve their goals by the end of the year. So by the end of this video, you will have a complete calendar dialed in with exactly what you should be doing that will, based on reverse engineering your goals, make sure you hit your goals every single year. I've now trained thousands of agents and helped so many new agents break 6, even 7 figures in their first year. And this is the exact process that I walked them through. Now, before diving in, as you can see down here in the bottom left-hand corner, in the description and the pinned comment, I have a free downloadable guide. You should download that because there's multiple things that you can do. You can print it off, and we're going to be writing out certain things throughout this video based on you and your specific goals and desires. So by the end of this, we have a plan tailored to your goals, not anybody else's, but your goals. And also, the most valuable thing is at the end of this, I'm actually going to pull up a blank calendar and show you, based on priorities, how to design your week to guarantee success. So the first thing that I want to say before diving in, if you have any questions throughout this video, please comment them below. Me and my team look at every comment that people make on my YouTube channel, and I want to make sure that if you're stuck anywhere or if you have any questions, that you actually get the answers so you can make sure the next 12 months are the best that you've ever had. Now, as we can see here, what are the outcomes that you're going to get by the end of this video? Number one, you're going to have SMART goals engineered, which are specific, measurable, attainable, realistic and relevant, and also time-bound. You're going to have a custom tailored schedule specifically for you, not one that just works for everybody, one that works for you, based on what you're willing to do, which is the most powerful part. Again, I'm going to pull up my screen later in this video and walk through how to actually build your calendar so you know exactly what to do. Also, you're going to know how to handle unexpected changes, because what happens oftentimes is that people will build out a calendar and a weekly routine, but then life comes up, something unexpected comes up, it throws you off track, and then you don't know what to do. But I'm going to make sure you know exactly what to do every time something comes up that's unexpected. How to regain focus if you get off track. Many people have a bad week or a bad day. They don't follow through with some of the things in their calendar, but where most agents go wrong is that they then make that a habit for the next week or month, and they stay off track. So I'm going to make sure that I teach you how to get back on track like that. It's very simple, very easy, but it's essential if you want to hit your goals. And also, by the end of this, you're going to have full clarity and confidence that you'll actually hit your goals. So many people come into January 1st, new year, new me, but they don't change their habits and their standards, and they don't even have confidence that they're going to hit their goals because they're so used to falling short on their goals every year that they lost confidence in themselves. So I'm going to make sure that you do have full confidence that everything you're doing is going to lead to you hitting your goals. And again, I encourage, please, if you get value from this, just subscribe and share it with somebody, ideally who you know needs to take their business to the next level. If you're like me, I love helping people. I love making a positive impact on other people's lives, which is why I do these YouTube videos for you. But please make sure you share it with somebody so that you can make a positive impact on their life in case they are not hitting their goals either. So what am I going to cover? First, we're going to go through goal setting. Then we're going to go through the core activities that you need in order to get clients. Then we're going to go into creating a personalized weekly routine and daily schedule specific to you. We're going to talk about time management strategies, adapting to the unexpected, and then what you need to do to actually execute on it so that you see massive results. So let's talk about goal setting first. The two most important days in life are the day you were born and the day you find out why. Really powerful quote. And the reason why that's powerful is that obviously the day you were born is the day that you get to, enjoy this beautiful life. But the day you find out why, Your why is going to be a massive determining factor as to whether or not you hit your goals. So many people become accustomed to disappointing themselves that they wonder, is it even worth putting out these videos? Is it worth prospecting? Is it worth making these sacrifices? But if you have a clear, definitive why as to why you're doing this, what is your purpose in life, you're going to be able to push through all of the difficult times, the adversity, the obstacles, and the roadblocks that come up along the way because you know why you're doing this, why you're on this earth, and who you're doing this for. So the first is looking at SMART goals. In order to set proper goals, and again, why are we starting with goals? Because you need to have clear goals to then engineer it into a proper calendar and schedule. If you have goals that are just loose and ambiguous and not clear, so many people try and go straight to a schedule and a calendar, but they don't have the right goals. So if we go straight to a calendar and you don't know what you should be doing, that calendar is not going to lead you to success. So I want to make sure you actually succeed. Specific, your goals need to be specific, very specific in terms of what you're looking to do, where you're looking to go, what you're looking to achieve. They need to be measurable, right? As you can see here, what gets measured gets managed. If they're not measurable and you can't track your progress, there's going to be no way to determine whether or not you're on track or off track to hitting it and making sure that you can stay excited about it. They have to be achievable. If you're a brand new agent and you want to do 24 deals, that's achievable. If you're a brand new agent and you say you want to do 240 deals, that's probably not the best goal to set because you're setting yourself up for disappointment from day one. Yes, I want you to push yourself, but you also have to be realistic and self-aware to be able to say, what am I actually capable of and what I believe is possible for me? Relevant is really important. They have to align with your why, with your mission, with what you're looking to do. And then time-bound. They can't just be, I want to do 24 deals. Well, by when? By what exact date? That's where it goes back to being specific so that we can reverse engineer that into a game plan. So there's different types of goals. There's time-bound and there's categories. We're going to focus on the business goals here because that's probably why you're watching this video. However, I encourage you to go back through this video and also apply these same strategies to the other categories because business is just one category out of four, in my opinion. And I know many people that are making a lot of money, but their mental health is not good. They're unhappy. Their body's in shambles. They're out of shape. They're overweight. Their fulfillment, there's no time with their family, no time with relationships. So if you have all this money, but the other three categories are falling apart, you're not going to be happy. It's not worth it. You need to make sure that you set proper goals for all aspects of your life so that you can build a fulfilled life, not just a wealthy life. Now, when it comes to time-bound, I like to operate off the book, The 12-Week Year, which is quarters. Quarters are long enough to be able to achieve momentum and success and achieve things, but short enough to be able to measure it. Midterm goals are 1 year, which is what we're going to be setting. And then after that, that's where you can set 5-year goals and then lifetime goals of stuff that you want to achieve in the future. But what we need to focus on right now to get a weekly schedule and a daily routine is your short-term and midterm goals, 1 year and 3 months, so that we can reverse engineer that into a weekly schedule and daily routine. So critical questions. To find out where you want to go, first you need to identify where you actually are. And the example and the reference point that I like to see here is, let's say you want to go from Dallas to Austin, for example, right? If you want to go from Dallas to Austin, you could do that by plugging it into a GPS and say, I'm currently in Dallas. I want to go to Austin. There's a starting point and an ending point. But let's just say you put into Google Maps, I want to go into Austin. I want to go to Austin. Well, you could be in Switzerland. You could be in California. You could be in Chicago. You could be where I am in Calgary. Who knows where you are? If you don't have a starting point, there's no way to get to the goal. And that's where a lot of agents go wrong, is they only set the goal. They say, I want to go here. But where are you currently? Because where you are determines what you need to do to get there. Which direction? How much effort? How much time? What about the energy required? Right? So that's where it's really critical that we start. And this is what you'll see in the worksheet with where you are today. And then we will identify where we want to go and what we need to do to actually get there. But this is critical because so many people miss this one step. So let's identify the current state. Where are you today? This is where it's really important that you download, again, pinned comment or in the description, click it, download it. It's free, but making sure that you write out the answers for yourself. What is your why? Why are you doing this? For me, a couple things just to put you in the right path to thinking. For me, it was my family, current family, my parents, my sister, being able to provide a better life for them. My future family, one day when I get married and have kids, being able to provide an incredible life for them based on the work that I'm doing today. And also, selfishly, I want to prove to myself what I'm capable of. Those are the three components that make up my why. So when I have adversity, when I have difficult times, when I go through troubling situations, I always revert back to my why and remind myself, why am I doing this? One of the top reasons why realtors fail is they forget why they got started. Every agent that I know gets into real estate and they don't just get past their license and say, well, damn, I guess that's kind of cool. I'm going to give this a shot for 3 months. And if it doesn't work out, who really cares? I'll go back to my 9 to 5. No, every person I know that gets into real estate gets their license. They're sharing it with everybody. They're fired up. They're motivated. They're going to make hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars. They're going to live this lifestyle that they've always dreamed of. You have to always remember why you got started and what is your why as to why you're doing this. Who are you doing this for? And it has to be bigger than just for yourself. So write out that answer in the workbook or pull up a Google Doc, write it out, for example, on a piece of paper. I always have my notebooks with me. Where are you currently? So let's write this out. How many deals have you done in the last 12 months? Right? How much time are you putting into your business? Like, where are you currently? What is working for you? If you look back at the last 12 months, what worked for you? How did you get your clients, if any? Was it through networking, cold calling, door knocking, content, specific platform? What is working for you? What is not working? Because what you'll see is that 20% of the activities you do bring 80% of the results. So we need to identify what the 20% was so we can eliminate the 80% and focus more on the 20%. Again, going back to SMART goals, what gets measured gets managed. Where a lot of agents go wrong is they're just continuing to throw spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks. So they're not measuring anything, and then they're putting 100% of this effort into their business, but 80% of what they're doing is not getting any results. Only the 20% is. We need to identify what is actually working and what is not working. Did you try stuff this year? Did you spend time on stuff this year that brought you no clients? Write that out so we can identify what is not working so we can eliminate or alleviate that pain point. What am I not doing? This is a really critical one. Are you not being consistent? Are you not following through with what's in your calendar? Are you not learning new things? Are you not being disciplined? Are you not embracing delayed gratification? Are you not following through with what you say and making sure that you're being diligent? What are you not doing? What did you not do over the last 12 months that you know, if you're being honest with yourself, impacted your success negatively? Also identify, why are you not doing that? So if you're not being consistent, why? Is it a story you're telling yourself? Is it a lie that you've convinced yourself of I don't have time? Is it a lie you've convinced yourself, or a label that you've given yourself of I'm not techie, or I'm not good at this? I'm a perfectionist. Why are you not doing it? We need to get to the bottom of that so we can remove those excuses and get back to action of what actually matters. Where am I wasting time? If you look at my phone, I'll pull it up over here. You will see 0 notifications because it is on Do Not Disturb all the time. My phone is on Do Not Disturb. I respond when I need to and when I want to. I don't get distracted by notifications. I'm not wasting time treating everything as it's urgent, because a lot of agents waste time by treating their emails and everything like it's urgent when it's not. So where are you wasting time? And what behaviors have led you to falling short of your goal? Again, that goes back to inconsistency, not being disciplined, things like that. Write those out. Now let's talk about the future state. So we've identified where we are. Now we have to identify, where do you want to be? Where are we going? Your specific goal. What is your specific goal by the day, the month, the year? Remember, SMART goals. The first one, S, specific. It's not I want to do 24 deals. It's I want to do 24 deals by December 31st, 2025. Or 36 deals or 50 deals, whatever. But write out a specific goal. Now, this is where things get important. What will it mean if you do hit your goals in the next 12 months? So is this going to alleviate you from all debt? Is this going to provide time freedom to spend more time with your family? Are you going to finally be able to buy that car you've always wanted, get a new house, travel? What's it going to do? Why is this important? Which is very critical. What will it mean if you do not hit your goals in the next 12 months? Write out that answer, right? This is another critical one, because now you've got repercussions mentally. If you don't hit your goals, you'll be able to remind yourself, I'm still going to be in debt. I won't get that vacation. I won't drive that car. I won't have that new house, right? Who are you committed to sharing your goals with? This is essential. And the reason why it's essential is that you need to hold yourself accountable to somebody that is associated with your why. So for me, I told my parents, when I hit my goals within the next 12 months, not if, when, I'm going to take our family on our dream trip to Hawaii. Well, that was a motivator, so that when I didn't feel like doing certain things, I would always remember, if I don't do these things, I'm disappointing my family, and I'm not going to be able to take them on a trip that they're all excited for. So if you hit your goals, maybe your goals are, okay, I want to do 24 deals, and if I do, I'm going to take, again, looking at part number 5, what's your reward for the next 12 months when you hit your goals? I'm going to take our family to Disney. Well, share that with your kids, because now on the days you don't feel like recording content or prospecting or following up with clients or whatever, you're going to be pretty motivated because you don't want to disappoint your kids. This is an essential part of hitting your goals. So many people are going to skip over this and think, it's stupid. I don't need to do this. This is why you don't hit your goals every year. If you do, you hit very lazy goals, very lousy, low achieving goals. If you want to achieve massive success and break multiple 6, even 7 figures, you need to have a reward and share it with somebody that's associated with your why. Now let's look at an example of a future state. So for business, again, talking about the importance of doing this for all of your goals or all of the categories, I want to do 24 deals by December 31st, 2025, right? Not sure why this says Monday, should say month, whatever. Body, I want to lose 20 pounds by March 15th, 2025. I want to get in better shape. I want to get healthier. I want to have longevity. I want to have energy. Mind, I'm going to become disciplined. Well, how do you measure that? You follow through with everything that's in your calendar. That's the only real way you can measure something like that. Being, right? Fulfillment, relationships. I'm going to spend 2 hours per day with family. That could be your goal, right? I don't have kids or anything like that. But for you, that might be a goal. Incredible goal, and we'll get to that when we design our calendar. But that's an example of a future state. So let's do a business example, and then I encourage you to do the exact same exercise for your being, body, and mind. So wrong is I want to do 24 deals in the next 12 months. Right is I want to do 24 deals by December 31st, 2025. Break it into a quarter, right? 12-week year. That's 6 deals per quarter, 2 deals per month. So what are the core activities? It's not what we do once in a while that shapes our life. It's what we do consistently. That's a very important reference point and quote that you need to remember. If you do things that once in a while and you dabble, it's not going to make a difference. So what do we need to do? Okay, Where are we going to start? Realtors only need to focus on 3 things when it comes to business: getting clients, servicing clients, and nurturing clients. Well, chances are you don't have enough clients. So servicing clients, easy. Nurturing clients, we'll get to it when we design our calendar, but it's not that important if we don't have clients. So let's focus on priority number 1, which is getting clients. What are you doing on a daily basis to generate leads? So what do we need to do to get to the future state? We need to create KPIs, or key performance indicators, that will lead us to our goals. So example, I want to close 24 deals by December 31st, 2025. And my current state is I have no clients at all. Nothing in the pipeline, not working with anybody. Okay, we're starting from scratch. Well, on average, you need to set 2 appointments per week with potential buyers or sellers, which is 8 per month. You're likely to close 50% of those appointments because the other 50% might work with a different agent or an agent they know better. And it's likely that 50% of those appointments are ready to make a move now or within this year. Some are saying they want to do it way far into the future. Well, that's not going to allow you to hit your goal by December 31st. So on average, if you need to get your 2 deals per month, we need to get 2 appointments per week. Then we need to go on those appointments and convert 50% of them. Okay, well, what are we going to do to get those 2 appointments per week? There's proactive and reactive, or active and passive prospecting, right? Proactive is the same as active prospecting. Reactive is the same as passive prospecting. When it comes to prospecting and lead generation, usually most agents have to do one of each, because when you look at active prospecting or proactive prospecting, it is linear. You put a certain amount of time in, you get a certain amount of results out. It's allowing you to control the amount of conversations you have on a daily basis. When you look at reactive prospecting, like content, for example, social media, that takes time. That's not linear, it's exponential. It starts very slow, and then it hits an inflection point, usually between 3, for most agents, 6 months. Then it skyrockets. You can't wait 6 months. Otherwise, you're not going to hit your goals. You need those 2 deals this month. So we need to blend active and passive prospecting. Now, I do have a ton of interviews on my YouTube channel of people that only did social media and broke 6 figures. You can check those out. But for the majority of agents who aren't willing to go all in on content, you have to choose one of each. So let's look at conversion rates. Proactive or active prospecting, cold calling, door knocking, paid ads. Prospecting usually converts on average about a 2%, and then ads typically, again, 2 to 3%. So if we have a goal of getting 2 appointments per week, you probably have to make up to 100 calls per week with intent. That intent means that you're not just calling, and as soon as they say no, you hang up and you're like, okay, and then you go to the next one. This is, I'm not getting off the phone until I've exhausted every objection handler possible, because I'm trying to get contact information, right? So this is really important. The cost is time. Well, if we look at $5 per lead, you need to spend $500 per week if you want to get 100 leads per week and get the 2 appointments per week. Reactive, organic content, that's YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, things like that. Again, this is something you should be doing in tandem, which I'll show you how to do in the calendar section, because it takes time. So for an example, this is actually what I personally did. I'm going to choose door knocking and YouTube as my primary platforms, and then I'm just going to repurpose my YouTube videos for short form content so I can have an active presence, but it's not taking a ton of time. Prospecting, I'm going to prospect for 2 hours a day, 3 times per week. I did it every day for 3 hours a day, but this is just realistic for most people. 100 doors per week, $400 doors per month, 1,200 doors per quarter. YouTube, I'm going to spend 4 hours per day, twice per week. So that's not 4 hours every day. That's 4 hours twice per week. 1 4-hour session will be planning. 1 4-hour session will be recording. So If you want my YouTube video blueprint, where I just show you exactly what to do on YouTube in order to, again, get full-time results and get 100% of your clients from YouTube, just comment YouTube or video blueprint rather, and I'll send you my free guide on YouTube so you can see exactly what to do, and a bunch of interviews of people just like you that are looking to get started that have gone on to break 6 figures. And then Instagram, 30 minutes a day for TikTok. That's posting and engaging. It's called social media. It's a two-way street. If you want to get clients from social media, you have to engage with other people as well. So what needs to go in your schedule? Everything. If it's not in your calendar, it doesn't exist. I've lived by this since day one, and every successful agent that I know lives by this as well. So getting clients, prospecting, social media networking, servicing clients, appointment showings, nurturing clients, follow-up, learning, market research, personal development. You don't achieve your goals, you achieve your standards, and knowing that, your income's a direct reflection of who you are as an entrepreneur. So knowing that, we need to make sure that you're always investing into learning and growing yourself, reading books, buying, courses, getting coached, things like that. You also need buffer space, which I'm going to show you how to put into your calendar, which is time for the inevitable. Where a lot of agents go wrong is they build out an entire calendar and every single moment is booked. But then a client comes into town the next day and you have no time in your calendar, but they want to view properties and they want to write an offer. What are you going to do? Throws everything off, right? So you need to make sure that you engineer buffer time into this. Personal time, health, fitness, hobbies, relaxation. So for your mental health and for your being, relationships, time with your family, friends, things like that. Sounds crazy to put that into your calendar, but if you don't, it's not going to happen. And that's so true. I've seen it happen time and time again. So let's go ahead and create your calendar. And I'm going to pull up my other screen here. I'm going to walk you through with a completely blank calendar, looking at all of these priorities, exactly what you need to do in order to design a calendar specific for you. All right, so now let's walk through how to create this calendar together. And I'm going to walk through what I would do. And again, I encourage you to do something similar based on priorities. And you're going to see how easy this actually is. And so many people struggle with it because they're not focusing on priorities. But first, we need to look at this priority list down here, ranked in order. And you will see priority number 1, family, relationships. Priority number 2, health, fitness. Then we get into clients. Then we get into lead generation. And at the very end, we have buffer time and passions and hobbies. So we need to start to build out our calendar based on our priorities. And your priorities should look identical to this. So let's first block off family time. Maybe for you, family time, and this will be gray, is going to be anytime after 7 p.m., right? So this could be family time. Well, what we need to do is we need to block this off, and we need to make sure that this is every single day. If that is a non-negotiable for you, this is going to be up to you, but you need to look at what is your bandwidth. Maybe at 7, you have dinner with the family, then you put the kids to bed, then you're winding down for the evening. But you need to look at what is your priority first. So we're going to come here and we're going to say, okay, after 7 p.m., I'm going to block this off. This is family time. This is non-negotiable. Okay, well, number 2 is going to be health and fitness. For me, I like to start the day with going to the gym, doing my morning routine. So that could be here. And we're going to type in gym or, fitness, whatever it looks like for you. And now we're going to look at this and make it green. So we're going to put in health. Okay, well, for me, that's an everyday thing. I like to stay consistent and make sure that the gym is in there and that health is always a priority. So we can pour into our body first. We've got our family time in there. And maybe, again, you've got different family buckets in here. Maybe you go to, for example, church on Sundays if you, have that focal point in your life, or whatever your family is first, do that first, so that it never gets negotiated. It never goes away. Then do your health and fitness. Then we need to look at active clients. Do you have any active clients? If not, okay, we need to block off some time for when we get active clients. So this could be, okay, Saturdays, we're going to be blocking Saturdays and Sundays. If we don't have active clients, we're going to block off some time for open houses. So maybe every Saturday from 10 till, 12 or whatever is going to be for open houses and or showings, for example. Now, again, showings could go into the evening, but this is just an example of what you can do. So now we're going to say open house. Cool. So every weekend, in order to get clients, we are going to do open houses. And this is going to be for active clients or getting clients. And we will make that a staple every weekend. And maybe after this, because of the fact that you're hopefully going to start getting clients, you're going to have time for showings. And now we've got a weekend, maybe showings are going to be all day on Saturday. Okay, so now we've got our time for showings. Well, after we have, our active clients booked in here, and again, I know that this is subject to change. Maybe you've got showings after work on a couple days, right? So you're going to have to block that time off, but you'll see how this comes together. Then we need to look at market knowledge. I highly encourage this as a component of every day. It's going to allow you to put out better content. It's going to allow you to start to also make sure that you're very well educated in answering questions when clients ask them. So this could be every day, once a day for 1 hour, which is what one of the top coaches in the industry, Joshua Smith, always gets his agents to do, is he filters the MLS, gets all his agents to filter the MLS by everything that is sold, active, pending, withdrawn, all the different things for the last 24 hours based on the areas that they serve and the city as a whole, which is going to allow you to be very educated. So when somebody asks you how the market's doing, you're going to be able to answer with confidence and clarity. That is how you're going to avoid the pitfall of people asking how long you've been in the industry, is being able to answer questions with clarity. So I recommend this being a Monday to Friday daily activity. So this could be market research. And looking at that, we'll make that a purple color. And we will make that every single day, Monday to Friday. Okay, well, now we need to look at active lead generation, which is going to be our prospecting schedule. Now, this could be a 1 to 3 type thing, could be a 5 to 6 type thing. I preferred to do it in the evenings because most people were home. However, I know many people tend to do it because many people are now working from home, around 1 to 3. So we said that we're going to do this 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So we're going to say prospecting. And we'll do this, 1 to 3, so 2 hours, which is 1 to 3 here. And we will merge. And we'll make this red for prospecting. And we're going to do this 3 times per week. So now we have our active lead generation in there. Then we need to do the passive lead generation. So as mentioned, that's going to be 4 hours twice a week, which is going to be 1 time to plan your content, 1 time to record your content. Now, I personally find doing it on the weekend is going to give you access to other properties like different show homes, things like that, and it tends to work well for most people. So I could say Sunday, we're going to do a 4-hour stint after the open house. We're already out. We could tour neighborhoods. We could tour other properties. We're already finished the open house, which we probably created a video for that as well. And what we're going to do is we're going to record on this day. So record video content. And that's going to be our passive lead generation. Okay. And I meant to make these the right color. Now, what's the other day? Well, typically, we're going to pick another day that's the slowest day, ideally, of the week for planning content. So we've recorded our video content. Maybe we're going to pick this day maybe nothing's really happening in the morning. You've dropped kids off for school, things like that. This is going to be plan video content. Plan video content. Okay, so now we've got our passive lead gen. We've got our active lead gen, and now we need to do lead nurture, which is where we're going to follow up with the leads that we're getting from our content, from our prospecting, from our ads. If you're running Facebook ads, Google ads, thing like that. Typically, that's a good thing to do earlier in the morning or in the later afternoon. It really depends. I find I have more energy in the morning, and so I tend to do it in the morning, but many people find that they have better results with client engagement after work when people are around our home. So maybe what you're going to do is say, okay, you're going to do lead nurture every single day, either from about 5 p.m. I find works well, or around 9 a.m. works well. So maybe you're a morning person and you want to spend more time, buffer time, which we'll get into, or family time in the evenings. So every day we're going to do lead nurture. Okay, well, we've got that. We'll make it the right color. And that's going to be every day, Monday to Friday. And then we need buffer time. And buffer time is that time for the unexpected, that time for the inevitable that we know is going to come up, the things that are not going to go well. Client flies in today, wants to view properties tomorrow. You know, your kid gets sick today, you can't prospect, so you have to move something, that type of thing. So for buffer time, we probably could have put it after passions and hobbies, but let's just look at passions and hobbies, and then I'll help you fill in buffer time. This buffer time. So we're just going to leave that as is, right? This is going to be getting ready. So that's buffer time. And we'll just leave that as is. So now we've got our weekends planned out for getting clients, servicing clients. You can, again, if you have to do showings on Sunday, you just do recording Saturday. You mix it up and you do what works for you. But let's say you've got some passions, and maybe on Fridays or maybe Thursday evenings, you have, a hobby practice of some sort, or you're, doing jujitsu like some of my friends, or you're mountain biking, or you're doing something of that sort. So now you've got a hobby here, and then maybe you're doing one more thing that you really enjoy on another day. Okay, cool. Well, let's look at that. Great. We've got another hobby here. Okay, so we've got our hobby time. Now we just need to look at our buffer time. Well, great. Now we can keep a lot of this space here open for the unexpected. Now, what I encourage you to be doing is, we talked about the power list, and the power list are the income producing activities that move the needle of your business. That's going to be things like learning. So maybe 1 hour a day, I always encourage people to learn. So this could be learning your CRM, learning YouTube, learning TikTok, learning how to run ads, learning something that's going to benefit you. So learn. This could just be education. And we'll put that in here. So now we've got time to learn. Mornings are starting to look pretty full, right? This could be breakfast with the family. So maybe we're going to say, you know what? This is also non-negotiable family time for me. Great. Well, now our weekends are pretty full. We've got buffer time here. I always encourage buffer time on Friday afternoons, because sometimes that could be showings, that could be clients flying in. And then we can leave the rest of this open simply for the unexpected and our power list of activities that we need to do. We need to, maybe record a new ad, or maybe we need to engage with social media, right? That's another one that we talked about, is engaging. It's really important to say, okay, maybe 10 a.m. every day, I'm going to say social media. And that is a form of passive prospecting or passive lead generation. So every day we're going to engage with other people on social media. Well, now we've got a morning routine dialed in. As you can see here, we have our prospecting in place. We have plans to plan our content. We have plans to record our content. We've got buffer time all throughout here. Just to make it very easy, I'll show you this. We've got all this buffer time in case the unexpected happens with clients and to get actual work done to move the needle of our business forward. So now, instead of having this big, crazy, scary schedule where your family's suffering, your health is suffering, and you're not fitting in your prospecting, you're not fitting in your content, just plan it out based on priority. And you can see here how we have an extremely powerful schedule that will help you move the needle of your business forward. Guaranteed, if you actually follow through with all this, you will break six figures in the next 12 months. It looks open. It looks like, oh my God, there's free time, right? But the truth is, that's what it actually takes. It's not that complicated. We just need to map out our priorities, because if you prospect for 2 hours, 3 times a week, you put out your 2 videos a week on long form and you do some short form in there as well. You have your open houses. You've got time blocked off for showings, for negotiating different things, for contracts, for everything. You're doing market research. You're learning every single day. You're following up with your clients. You don't need anything else. Your calendar does not need to look absolutely insane. And now you've got all these open times, and even like a little bit in the evening for client appointments, for consultations, for listing appointments, for additional showings. You've got all this space, and that's all that it takes. But it starts with getting clarity on your priorities and putting it in sequential order so that you don't negotiate the most important part of your business in your life. So the truth is, as you can see through that demonstration, is that it's not about time management, it's about priority management. Time is a great equalizer. It's the only thing in the world that every single human has equal amounts of. It's the equalizer of all of us. So more successful people don't have more time. They create more time by managing their priorities better, but they have the same amount of time every single day, 24 hours, right? You cannot find time for anything. If you want time, you must make it. So if you're complaining that you don't have time for social media, all that you're doing is not making it as a priority. Because one of the examples I tell people is, let's say you've got a full day. Every single hour is packed. But then you get a call and your kid is sick, or they broke a bone, or they have to go to the hospital. Are you just going to reply to that phone call and say, sorry, I've got a busy day, I can't help? No, your priority is your kid. You're going to make time for it. The same thing goes with everything in your business, in your life. You have to make time for it. So let's talk about sticking to the plan. The first thing is going to be discipline, right? Discipline is the difference between what you have and what you want. Discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishments. Most people just have goals and they don't accomplish them. Why? They're not disciplined. Discipline is following through with what is actually in your calendar. So now that you've designed a calendar and a weekly routine, when you have to prospect, you prospect. When you have to record content, you record content. That is discipline. But so many people have a perfect calendar and then they negotiate with themselves of what to do. Now, Parkinson's law, this is a really critical thing to understand. What this law is saying, basically, you will fill the amount of time that you give yourself to do an activity. So one of the easiest examples is, let's say you're in college or university and you have 3 hours to complete a test. Most people finish around 2.5 to 3 hours, and they push right up to the end because they're given 3 hours. If you were given 2 hours for that same test, and you fail, if you don't complete it in 2 hours, you're going to complete it in 2 hours. And what happens oftentimes is that people give themselves too much grace and too long to do a certain activity when they could actually get it done in a fraction of the time if they just condensed it, removed their distractions, right? No notifications, and executed with focus. The power list. This is my daily power list here. And the power list is writing 5 income producing activities every single day that you need to do that move the needle of your business. These are not laundry. These are not groceries. These are what will help your business grow. This is what I use to make sure that in the spaces outside of my core activities that are in my schedule, when I have blank space, What am I doing to continue to help my business grow? Could be creating a new ad. Could be, designing a new flyer, brochure, or something like that. But what's going to actually help your clients and your business grow? Self-care is critical. This is so important because if you don't take care of yourself, health is all that we have. If you're unhealthy, you can't execute. If you have low energy because you're eating terribly, you're not going to be able to put in long hours with focus. So making sure that, again, you engineer that time into your calendar for self-care is so important. Mentally, physically, spiritually, everything. It's really essential. And then making sure that you use social media as a tool, not a toy. This is really critical because so many people who are falling short of their goals just end up aimlessly scrolling on this thing all day, every day. And to prove this to you, when people say, I don't have time, if you have an iPhone, go to your settings and then look at your screen time, right? And check what that number is. If that number is like 3, 4, 5 hours a day, you are lying to yourself by saying you don't have time. You have plenty of time. You're just mismanaging the time that you have. Because this will really open your eyes as to where the big issues are. It's not that you don't have time, it's what are you doing with the time that you actually have. So let's talk about adapting to the unexpected. You may not control all the events that happen to you, but you can control your attitude toward them. Things are going to go sideways. Things are going to come out of thin air. Things are going to throw you for a loop. They're going to frustrate you. They're going to throw you off track. But how do we adapt to that? So the first is going to be the wedge of expectations. And what this is when people are designing their calendar like we just did, they set a ceiling. And a ceiling is what happens on the optimal day. I prospect for 2 hours. I go to the gym and lift weights for an hour. I record 2 videos. Like, they have all these ideals. But what happens on the days where you're sick? What happens on the days where you got bad news and you're just mentally not there? What happens on the days you're traveling? What happens on the days where it's just chaotic in general? You need to not just set a ceiling, you need to set a floor. And a floor is what are you committed to doing no matter how bad things get? So what this is doing is keeping you in momentum. Where so many agents go wrong is that they do pretty well for a few days, then they break momentum altogether because something unexpected happens. When you break momentum, it takes enormous amounts of energy to get back up to speed. Whereas if you just stay momentum and reduce your speed a little bit, it doesn't take that much to get back up full tilt. So what the wedge of expectations could be is, let's say your ceiling is I'm going to prospect for 2 hours. Well, on a day where everything's going wrong, you might not need to prospect for 2 hours, but you have to do something. Doing nothing is what breaks momentum. So you might say, I'm not going to, on the worst day, I'm not going to prospect 2 hours. I'm going to follow up with 5 clients. On the worst day, I'm not going to record 2 YouTube videos. I'm going to plan out my next 4. On my worst day, I'm not going to go to the gym and lift weights for an hour. I'm going to go for a 15-minute walk outside. That's what allows you to stay in momentum and adapt to change. Bounce back time. This is how much time does it take for you to bounce back when things go wrong. So this could be an example of a client decided to work with a different agent, or your friend decided to work with a different agent, or you lost a listing. These are all situations that are bound to happen. For most agents, it throws them off track for weeks, for months. They can't stop thinking about it. However, when you look at successful agents, they get frustrated about it for like 5-10 minutes, then they move on. What do we do to reduce your bounce back time so that you bounce back into action quicker than the average agent? Well, the way that we do that is, for example, you realize life happens for you, not to you. So everything happens for a reason. So if your friend decided to work with a different agent, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? It is what it is. It's happened. Me getting upset about it is not going to change the outcome. What can I do to improve going forward? Was I not visible enough? Did I not have a clear enough communication with them? Is my value proposition not clear or evident? Am I not visible? What's wrong? What can I learn from this? And how can I understand that life happens for me, not to me? It's always a blessing at the end of the day. You can always take something positive from every situation. For me, I look at it from that lens, but then I also understand, aside from not being able to change the outcome, I can change how I show up. So usually what I'll do is I'll get pissed off for 5 minutes, then I'll put on some songs that make me really happy, and I'll just change my state. Or I'll go to the gym, get my blood flowing, get my energy going, and make progress in one area of my life. So find a routine that allows you to bounce back on track when you get off track. And then prioritize the 20%. We talked about this in the beginning, is that 20% of what you do will yield 80% of the results. And 80% of what you're doing yields 20% of the results. Knowing that, we need to, when things go sideways, prioritize the 20%. If your day is going crazy and you don't have much time, or you're sick or whatever, and you've got half the amount of time in your day to actually do something, prioritize the 20% that actually brings you business. Don't get all distracted with the fluff that ends up bringing you 20%, but focus on the 20% that brings 80% of the results. So now let's talk about execution. Plans are only good intentions unless they immediately degenerate into hard work. So understand the concept, and this is something that I preach from a mountaintop constantly. Done is better than perfect. Perfectionism is the lowest standard on earth. So many people think perfection is a high standard. It's the lowest standard because it doesn't exist. If you label yourself as a perfectionist, it is a label of an excuse. Because what you'll do is you'll just say, I'm a perfectionist, right? It's not perfect. It's not going out. It's not getting done. I can't do it. Well, number one, nothing's perfect. So if I see people on video content, for example, and they won't put out a video until it's perfect, well, just when they think a video is perfect, I could poke a million holes in why that video is not perfect. So I need you to understand that perfectionism doesn't exist. It's a label that you've used as an excuse to avoid doing the work you know you need to do. When you're going through this, when it comes to execution, embrace the PDCA model, which is plan, which we've done. Then you have to go do it, which you're going to do. Then after each week, check how things went and then adjust it. So it might not be perfect from day one, but it's probably going to be on a better track than you were previously. We did our plan. You have to go do it. Check it every week. See, did this work for you? Did certain things come up? Can you adjust your schedule to make it even more effective and fit better with your lifestyle? And as you continue to do that process, it's going to allow you to improve over time. Be honest with yourself, right? This is really critical. Usually when I see agents that are not getting results from prospecting or social media content, it's not that prospecting doesn't work. It's not that YouTube doesn't work. It's not that TikTok doesn't work. It's that you're not doing the work to make it work. Because I've trained thousands of agents to see success from across all different avenues of lead generation, but they are making it successful. It's not that something doesn't work. It all works. But the question is, are you showing up to the greatest capacity that you can? Are you putting in 100% effort, or are you just doing it to do it and dabbling? Now, accountability partner with a twist. This can help with execution. What I'm talking about here is it's good to share your goals with somebody. It's good to have somebody to build with, to grow with, to do this stuff with. However, you shouldn't have to rely on them. And not only should you not have to rely on them, you need somebody who's not a cheerleader. Many people want to surround themselves with cheerleaders, people that are telling you you're doing such a great job, everything you do is amazing, and so proud of you all the time. That stuff is good, but the people who are actually going to help you achieve your goals are the people who are real accountability partners that hold you to the standard they know you can achieve. So for me, I've got a couple people in my inner circle, and if I put out a video that's not that great, they'll tell me, hey, dude, that wasn't that great. I know you've got more value than that. Or I know you could have put more effort into it. I know you've got more to say. I know you've got more value to give. If I do anything that's not up to my standard, they also call me out. So they'll congratulate me when I do things well, but they'll also call me out when they know I could do better. And that is so essential, is not surrounding yourself with cheerleaders. Now, if you want to surround yourself with people who are elite level performers, who are always pushing to grow, who are always pushing to win, you can book a call by going to this website, agentwolfpack.com, or click the link in the description where you will get access for free to all of my top social media training on every social platform, marketing, advertising, personal branding. We also have weekly live mastermind calls where you'll be surrounded with hundreds of agents just like you who are pushing their limits and always sharing their best strategies. This is something that's important to remember, is that you're the average of the 5 people you surround yourself with. And so many times you're surrounding yourself with people that aren't pushing, that aren't ahead of you. And also, when you look at most brokerages, people hoard their best information. They hoard their best strategies. Whereas when you look at our group, everybody, people making $500,000, $1 million, $3 million a year, are all sharing exactly what works for them right now, all their best strategies. It's collaborative. It's a community. It's people who want to see you win. You need to be in the right environment because you are a byproduct of your environment and your peer group. And if you want people who are going to be there to support you, be that right proper accountability partner and make sure that you've got all the strategies that you need to smash your goals every single year, book that conversation. Again, it's entirely free. Everything that we provide is free. And just like the hundreds of agents we've transformed the businesses of, we can help you become the next success story. Now, again, if you have any questions about anything that we walked through, just drop a comment below. And I would genuinely appreciate that if you were not currently subscribed to my YouTube channel, that you do so. And that, again, you share this with somebody that you know needs to hear this message and get on track to achieving their true success. Thanks so much for watching. As always, make sure you check out this next video if you really want a roadmap of what to do to scale your business to the next level. And I'll see you in the next video.